I thought love could fix everything. It couldn't. I met Alex in a crowded coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. The kind of day where the world feels muted, and everyone's just trying to stay dry. I was nursing a latte, scrolling through job listings on my phone, feeling the weight of my recent layoff like a stone in my chest. He bumped into my table, spilling his black coffee just enough to make me jump. Apologies tumbled out of him, and before I knew it, we were laughing about how clumsy he was. His smile was warm, disarming, like sunlight breaking through clouds. By the time we exchanged numbers, I felt a spark I hadn't in years. We were both in our late 20s, navigating the mess of adult life. I was a graphic designer, freelancing now after the corporate gig fell through. Alex worked in marketing, but he had this restless energy, always talking about starting his own thing. Our first date was simple, a walk in the park, sharing stories about our families. Mine was stable but distant. His was chaotic, with a divorced mom and a dad who'd vanished years ago. He opened up about his anxiety, how it sometimes kept him up at night, replaying conversations in his head. I told him about my own bouts of self-doubt, how I'd push people away when things got tough. "We're both a little broken," he said, squeezing my hand. "But maybe together we can be whole." That became our mantra. Love as the ultimate fixer. In the early months it seemed true. We moved fast, weekend getaways, meeting each other's friends, even talking about living together. Sex was passionate, conversations deep into the night. When his anxiety flared, I'd hold him, whispering that everything would be okay because we had each other. And when my insecurities bubbled up, he'd remind me of my talents, pulling me out of the spiral. Love felt like magic, smoothing over the cracks. But cracks don't disappear. They just hide until the pressure builds. 6 months in, Alex lost his job. It wasn't his fault, the company downsized, but it hit him hard. He started drinking more, not blackout drunk, but enough to dull the edges. First I saw it as a phase. "We'll get through this," I'd say, planning job search days together. I'd make resumes for him, apply to postings while he slept in. Love, I thought, would motivate him. Instead, he withdrew. Mornings turned into arguments about why he wasn't trying harder. "You don't understand," he'd snap. "It's not that easy." I did understand, or at least I tried. My own layoff had left me raw, but I'd bounced back by sheer willpower. Why couldn't he? I poured more into us, cooking his favorite meals, surprising him with tickets to shows, even paying his share of rent when we finally moved in together. Love fixes everything, I'd tell myself, ignoring the resentment brewing. Friends noticed. "You're carrying too much," my best friend Lena said over brunch. "Relationships should be equal." I brushed it off. Equality would come once he was back on his feet. The anxiety attacks worsened. One night, he woke up gasping, convinced he was a failure, that I'd leave him. I stayed up till dawn, rubbing his back, assuring him I wasn't going anywhere. But inside, exhaustion set in. My freelance work suffered. I missed deadlines, lost clients. I started resenting the late nights he spent scrolling job sites half-heartedly or binge-watching shows to escape. When I confronted him, it escalated. "You think you're perfect," he yelled once. "Always pushing me like I'm some project." That stung because, in a way, he was right. I'd turned our relationship into a renovation job, believing my love could rebuild him. But love isn't a hammer or nails. It's not equipped to fix deep-seated issues like untreated mental health or unresolved trauma. Alex needed therapy, maybe medication, but he resisted. "I don't want to be labeled," he said. "We can handle this ourselves." I enabled it, thinking my support was enough. Reflection comes later, but in the moment, it's easy to confuse codependency with devotion. A year in, the fights became routine. Small things exploded. Dishes in the sink, forgotten anniversaries. He'd apologize profusely, promise change, and for a week things would improve. Then the cycle repeated. I lost weight, stopped seeing friends. My reflection in the mirror showed dark circles, a forced smile. "Why are you staying?" Lena asked again. "Because I love him," I replied, as if that explained everything. The breaking point came on a cold winter evening. We'd planned a date night, but Alex came home late, reeking of beer from networking at a bar. I'd spent the day freelancing through a migraine, hoping for connection. Instead, he passed out on the couch. I sat there, staring at him, tears streaming. All the love in the world couldn't wake him up, couldn't make him choose us over his avoidance. I packed a bag and went to Lena's. The next days were a blur of texts and calls. He begged me to come back, swore he'd get help. I almost did, love's pull is strong. But something shifted. Alone in Lena's guest room, I reflected on the past year. I'd given so much of myself that I'd forgotten who I was without him. Love hadn't fixed him. It had nearly broken me. I realized I'd idealized love as a cure-all, ignoring that people have to fix themselves first. We met for coffee a week later. He looked wrecked, eyes red from crying. "I thought we could fix everything together," he said. I nodded, fighting back tears. So did I. But love isn't enough if we're not whole on our own. We parted with hugs and promises to stay friends, but deep down I knew it was goodbye. In the months that followed, I threw myself into therapy. Sessions unpacked my patterns, why I sought out fixer-uppers, stemming from my own family's emotional distance. I learned that love thrives in healthy soil, not barren ground. Reflection became my ally. Journaling about the good times, acknowledging the red flags I'd ignored. Alex, I heard through mutual friends, started seeing a counselor too. He got a new job, seemed steadier. I was happy for him from afar. Dating again felt daunting, but when I met someone new, a guy named Jordan who was stable, communicative, I approached it differently. No rushing, no assuming love would bridge gaps. We talked openly about boundaries, mental health. It wasn't fireworks like with Alex, but it was steady, real. Looking back, the lesson was painful but profound. Love is powerful, but it's not omnipotent. It can't heal wounds that require professional help, can't bridge fundamental incompatibilities. Emotional struggles in love teach us about ourselves. What we need, what we deserve. I thought love could fix everything. It couldn't. But it did teach me to fix myself.